this morning reminded me of going to Tokudo. Tokudo is like an ordination in Kyoto. Every morning at 5 a.m., this song, comes from the speaker. So, when I hear this song, I feel like, oh, I have to wake up. But it's really, lovely song. So I came back from Sacramento last Sunday, and it was really terrible storm in Sacramento. And many trees were knocked down, and some members of the Sacramento had power outage for 6 days or something maximum. And I heard 1,000 trees have knocked down. 1,000. My first assignment as a minister was to Buddhist Church of Florence in Sacramento. So that I know many people in Sacramento area and what the culture was like during New Year's. I remember visiting 7 to 8 houses on New Year's Day, having a lot of food and drink. And it was fun to visit and see many people in one day. But by the time we get home, we were so full, we were so sleepy. And no other person can gain 20 pounds in, a few years, right? We stayed home for the New Year's Day this year, so that we had really quiet New Year's Day. And we had osechi, a traditional Japanese food, prepared by my wife Namiko, and ozogi, a soup with mochi, rice cake, cooked by myself. And it is interesting that how to make ozogi, or what to put into ozogi, differs by the area or the person who grew up, area of the person who grew up or the family, right? My area, my hometown, uses shoyu-based soup, but Namiko's area uses white miso. So it's really different. And the picture is my ozogi. And I forgot to take picture of my, Namiko's ozogi. I always cook 2 types of ozogi. Actually, in Japan, there are things called ozogi divorce. Some couple divorce because of the differences of how to make ozogi. That sounds silly, right? But everyone has different tastes which they grew up with. So the taste of ozogi is really important for some people. But at my home, we are really being Buddhistic at our house. Instead of forcing one to eat something different from the taste which the one grew up with, we cook both ozogi to avoid unnecessary tension and argument in the house. And this is important attitude to have, isn't it? We all have different opinions, but we should not force others to follow one's opinion. We all need to have the ear to listen and mind of respecting others' opinions. So regarding the Japanese tradition around New Year's, we have a tradition of putting up Kagami Mochi, literally meaning mirror mochi. And it is called Kagami Mochi, mirror mochi, because the mirror in olden days was round shaped, just like Kagami Mochi. And it is said that this tradition of putting Kagami Mochi up was already there in Japan in 11th century. A mirror was often used in Shinto shrines rituals, and it was considered as the item which brings the spirit of the Shinto god. The color orange on top is called daidai in Japanese, daidai. And daidai in Japanese means generations to generation, generations to generation. So this tradition of putting Kagami Mochi up around New Year's was more like expressing the wish of people for the protection of Shinto god throughout the years and generations. Then, why we are putting Kagami Mochi at the Jodo Shinshu temples and Jodo Shinshu followers' home? Are we asking Shinto God to come protect us all the way to Portland from Japan? Or are we wishing health and happiness of the year by putting Kagami Mochi? And I would say answer is no to both questions. So Jodo Shinshu's direction of the working is always not from our side, this side, but from Buddha's side. So instead of wishing or praying to the Buddha, we receive the working of the Buddha's wisdom. So we don't offer anything to Buddha seeking for any return. Then, what is the meaning of putting Kagami Mochi, up in Jodo Shinshu altar? But before talking about the meaning of Kagami Mochi in our tradition, I was curious if there are official way of putting up the Kagami Mochi to the altar, and I found some information. And I didn't know there is a proper way of putting Kagami Mochi in Jodo Shinshu temple. So let me share this. And you might think that, oh, sensei, it's too late. Shogatsu or New Year is already gone, and we took Kagami Mochi down. But, please remember this. And we can put Kagami Mochi this way from end of this year or next year, right? So you have to go back to YouTube channel and watch this video all the time. So we don't actually know when we adopted the tradition of offering Kagami Mochi to the Buddha. But in one of the writings from Edo period, which is the 17th century through 19th century, it said, around New Year's, offer Kagami Mochi to Amida Buddha, Shinran Shonin, and other masters. The number of the layers of Kagami Mochi could differ by the temples. But orange on top of the Kagami Mochi, put orange on top of the Kagami Mochi. The number of the leaves of the orange are 3 for Amida and Shinran, 2 for Rennyo, and others are 1. So Nishi Hongwanji, that's our mother temple in Kyoto, still follows this tradition. And from the time of our 8th head priest, Rennyo Shonin, well, actually, every time I mention Rennyo Shonin, I ask everybody, do you remember which one's Rennyo Shonin, right? You remember? Yeah, some people say this way. Yeah, that's right. So Rennyo Shonin is this one. Shinran Shonin, our founder, is this one, right? So Rennyo Shonin is from 15th century, and we started this tradition of Osusubarai. Osusubarai. It is like a year-end cleanup, which happens on December 20th. And now, Nishi Hongwanji's Mochitsuki is on December 24th. And after the morning service on December 31st, we put Kagami Mochi up. It will be taken down on January 4th, after the morning service to eat. So, we don't have to follow exactly the same date for Mochitsuki, but we can try to follow the day of the year-end cleanup and the days of putting Kagami Mochi and taking them down. And this is a picture I found online. Wow. Unfortunately, I could not find a picture of actual Kagami Mochi in Onaijin in Nishi Hongwanji, but it is 5 layers of mochi for Amida Buddha. This is only 2, right? But 5 layers of mochi. So we can imagine how tall the Kagami Mochi would be, right? Maybe this tall. And I know I have a friend who used to go to Nishi Hongwanji on the New Year's services. He said it must be like 20 kilograms per mochi. 20 kilo is how much pounds? 45 pounds? Wow, it sounds really heavy, right? So, we put up Kagami Mochi in Onaiji, right? And one of the reasons is to appreciate Amida Buddha, Shinran Shonin, and other masters. But another reason I can think of, that is the word I shared at the beginning of my talk. 今日は例えるに鏡のごとしと。 the sutras and teachings are just like mirrors. So Master Shanto likened sutras and teaching as the mirror. The sutra and teaching serve as a mirror of our daily lives. We make sure that we look okay by looking through the mirror, right? But we don't have the mirror to reflect our daily behavior. So the sutra and the teachings of Nembutsu serves as a mirror and reflects our foolish behavior of relying on the three poisons of greed, anger, stupidity or ignorance. And guided by the teachings, we try to be away from these three poisons. So I was looking for Hongwanji's official understanding on Kagami Mochi, but I could not find. So this is my understanding. That offering the mirror-shaped mochi to Amida Buddha, Shinran Shomin, and other masters, this is expressing our resolution of the year to the Buddha and the masters, saying that we are going to live relying on the sutra and the teaching, which is like the mirror of our daily lives. And also, the orange on top could still mean generation to generation. We will make sure to hand this teaching down generation to generation. So this is also our resolution of the year. So to me, putting Kagami Mochi up does not mean asking Shinto God to come and protect us generation to generation. But it is a reminder for me that I should live with the mirror-like teaching and hand this teaching down generation to generation. And it is the beginning of the year resolution to the Buddha and the masters to live with the teaching throughout the year. So again, this is my understanding that other ministers might have different opinions. And I am not forcing you to follow my way of understanding, but if my understanding helps, I am happy. So thank you all for attending today's service. And in closing, I'd like to play bass guitar since I brought my bass guitar today. As you know, I usually play the melody line of the song. And I pick soft music and not really heavy music. But today, I would like to share music from one of the fusion metal instrumental band named Archiecho. And I have shown the video of me playing, this music, but I thought I can play this today. And the music title is Strut. The word strut has two meanings according to the dictionaries. If it is about engineering, strut is like a structural component, and it means like support, right? So the Buddhism teaching is like strut or support of my life. But strut also has the meaning like walking with pride, right? So this is like myself reflected in the mirror of the teaching of the Buddhism teachings. So, I have the mind of showing off or, self-pride. So I self-reflect my behavior through the teaching. So anyway, if it's too loud, you can cover your ears. But I hope everybody enjoys the music. 3歳ビーツから見るわ。